It's very exciting for me to come here to this sixth African Space Generation workshop because I get to see who's going to be the next generation to carry space investigations, both maybe looking up and maybe looking down Earth observations. So anytime I have a chance to come and see the next generation who will be carrying our legacy forward, it's very exciting. So I'm what is known as the program scientist for the James Webb Space Telescope. I work at NASA headquarters, which is in Washington, D.C., and I oversee the whole scientific program for the telescope. So this are the requirements. What is it supposed to do? Is it meeting its requirements? What are the policies for how we will use the telescope, how people use it, and what the funding is needed to do those things. Now that the telescope is working so well, I'm mainly just concerned about the policies because the science is taking care of itself. James Webb had several science goals. The most fundamental one was to find the first stars and galaxies that formed in the universe after the Big Bang. So that's pretty much drove all of our design. Now, since we've built it, we've come to know of thousands of exoplanets, and we know that Webb will be used to study these exoplanets to see if they might be habitable. Because we can see the beginning of stars and galaxies, we can also watch the universe evolve over time, and people will use Webb to also look at how stars and planets form in our own galaxy. So many of the technologies that get used for really any space mission, but something like James Webb, those technologies are useful for more than just one space telescope. So in the case of Webb, we had to invent several kinds of very stable structures to hold the mirrors still. That technology gets passed on to new missions that can use and benefit from it. We had to invent new detectors to see the very distant objects, but those same detectors can be used to study Earth. So they're practical there. And then oftentimes you even hear of spin-offs, which are things that you invent for one thing, they get used for another. The devices we used to measure our mirrors when we were making them is now used commercially in the United States to measure the shape of your eye for eye surgery. Sure. In fact, the telescope that comes after Webb is known as the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, or just Roman Space Telescope. It will launch in about 5 years. It's a survey telescope. It looks more like Hubble than Webb, but we've already started thinking about the one that comes after Roman, and it doesn't have a name yet. We sometimes call it the Habitable Worlds Observatory, and it's going to be designed to look for life on other exoplanets. So even now, as Webb is beginning, we're starting to think, what comes next?